In this video, I'm going to tell you how safe London is for visitors and residents. When I was younger, I visited London a few times, and a few years ago, I moved here. For both scenarios, safety was a big concern. I'm sure you've heard some horror stories of scams, gangs, and dangerous neighborhoods associated with London, but much of that is overblown. London is a big city with a lot of people, so there's a certain amount of caution that you have to practice whether you live here or you're just visiting. So let me give you some tips and advice that will help you worry a lot less about your safety and help you enjoy the city much more. Let's start with some statistics. Depending on the source you use, London's crime rate is anywhere from 105 to 112 crimes per 1,000 people. And the crime index, based on government surveys, is 53.8, which places London in front of cities like Paris, San Francisco, Manila, and the highest measured index, Caracas, Venezuela. Examples of low crime index cities are Munich, Quebec, Canada, and the lowest index, Abu Dhabi. So London is right about in the middle of the scale. Now you might see some TikToks or stories online showing an appalling crime in London, but don't let those scare you. There's no context to them. They may be in areas far from tourists or not even in London, and they're often staged for clicks. So I'll tell you a little story. So when I was leaving Hong Kong, I told my boss, who is British, that I'm moving and I was a little bit concerned about my safety. So he asked me, "What are you gonna do, join a gang?" I said, "No." He says, "Are you gonna buy drugs?" And I said, "No." Of course, his point was, you'll really only find trouble if you're looking for it. Tales of London crime are often exaggerated. So where should you go and where should you avoid? My wife and I moved here from Hong Kong where the crime rate is very low, so of course we were very concerned about maintaining a level of confidence in our safety. Maybe I was being a bit overcautious, but I used a crime map when I was looking for a neighborhood to settle in. But even these maps can be interpreted in different ways, as this example shows overall crime. Note the dark red in central London. I'll touch on that later in the video. This version of the crime map shows just the violent crimes. Suddenly, central London is very green, as violent crime tends to be centered in less affluent neighborhoods that tourists don't really go to. And speaking of neighborhoods, by law, there must be a percentage of affordable housing in every neighborhood in London. All over London, you'll find council estates right alongside some very desirable streets and sections. In some areas, estates have drug or gang problems, but not all of them do. Like here at Alexandria Estates, it's just simply an affordable place to live. Personally, I think it's obvious if you're nearing an area which to avoid. But don't let East London's grittiness discourage you from visiting Brick Lane. And Brixton's reputation shouldn't keep you from visiting the Bowie Memorial or the Caribbean Market. And if you plan on going to a football game, a lot of grounds are in questionable neighborhoods. There'll be a lot of cops and crowds, but it'll be very rowdy, so keep your wits about you, especially if you have a few pints. Bottom line, you're going to be near some dodgy areas no matter where you live or stay in London, but in my experience, it's very easy to tell the difference between a safe and an unsafe area. Not gonna lie, gotta look out for scammers. So let's talk about the red area from the crime map, better known as the tourist area. We're talking Westminster, Soho, and Covent Garden. So why is it red? Well, as in any large city, petty crime and scams are all too common in London's tourist districts. Now the good thing about popular areas is that there's safety in numbers. Violent crime rarely happens where there's a lot of people, a lot of cameras, and a lot of cops. Unfortunately, London criminals are pretty wily and they come up with some clever ways to part you and your money. Some are obvious, like the cup and ball scam. You'll find several games on the Westminster Bridge. Most people know not to partake in this age-old grift. But there are always those who fall for the unwinnable game, not realizing that just about everybody standing around is in on it. And if somebody wins, they're working with the guy running the scam. Other scams are a little less obvious, like pedicabs.
They're loud, fancily decorated, and they look like they're a lot of fun. Some tricks drivers use are shifting the decimal on credit card machines, charging absurd amounts for short rides, then intimidating you into paying, and also quoting a price and charging that price per person, not per group. I don't think they'd be hiding their faces or trying to take my camera if they were legit. Ticket scams are very common. Some scammers try to collect fees for a free attraction like changing of the guards.
Fake tickets are everywhere. Only buy your tickets from a reputable source. You don't want to go to a show and find out that you bought a counterfeit ticket. Also, if you're going to a show, don't go to a place like this. They charge way more than they do at the theater box office or the theater's official sites online.
TKTS is the only day of show seller in Leicester Square that you can trust. I repeat, don't use any other ticket tout. Be extra careful of petty crime.
Locals usually avoid places like the Eye and Buckingham Palace, but there are some really cool places like in Soho or here in Covent Garden. But even a local can let his guard down and really pay the price for it.
Places like Covent Garden Market, Leicester Square, and Carnaby Street are ground zero for London pickpockets and phone snatchers. Some are brazen enough to nick a purse off the back of a chair. Others are more savvy.
In fact, it was right here in Carnaby Street that I saw somebody get their phone snatched right under their nose.
With a little help, I'm going to demonstrate the petition scam, the easiest way to lose your phone.
Hi, I'm from Syria and my people are dying and I just need you to sign this, please. It's very important to me. Can I please tell you the story where my family is dying? I'm so sorry for bothering you.
Purse, wallet, and phone snatching make up a huge percentage of the crime in tourist areas, and it has to be the easiest to avoid. Just don't hang your bag or purse in your chair, and don't leave your phone exposed. Common sense stuff, but property theft happens so often you need to stay alert.
So don't let the potential of petty theft discourage you. Just keep aware of things when you're in a popular or busy London place.
But also keep in mind that there are really safe areas with amazing sights and attractions that are far less crowded and far less appealing to predators, like Chelsea, Richmond, Kensington, and Hampstead. Be sure to catch my videos on all of these gems. So you went to a dinner and a show and it's late.
London is very different at night. Because of the drinking culture in the UK, if you're in a place like Shoreditch or Camden or like here in Soho, things might get just a little bit rowdy.
If you're tipsy and making your way back home or to your hotel, you might be a little more oblivious to your surroundings, making you an easy target for theft or assault.
It's best to be with a friend or a group or a partner. Also, you want to stay on the main streets, make sure it's well lit. Try not to cut through alleys and parks on your way back either.
In busy areas, you'll inevitably run into drunk people or groups on the streets at night. They don't present an imminent threat, but a sauce person can be unpredictable. Just cross the street or walk the other way if you feel threatened. This city is well patrolled and it stays active late, so if you're walking to a hotel in central London, you'll likely be fine. And speaking of getting home,
London is a very walkable city, but it's also very well connected by public transport.
London has 11 subway lines and there's 24-hour bus service. The tube is quite safe, but it's best to make sure your valuables are secure on the platform or a busy train. You'll see cameras everywhere and emergency call buttons in the cars. This gives you a feeling of comfort, or at least assures you that if you do get killed, your murderer will probably get caught, so there's that. But seriously, if you feel anxious about someone, just move to another car. It's rare to be the only one leaving a station, even at night, but just stay alert if your journey is to a more remote stop or a reputedly dangerous neighborhood.
And it's the same with buses. If you're in central London, especially during the day, you're going to have no problem. But at night, you just want to avoid the sketchy areas, and if you feel uncomfortable, hail a cab or call an Uber. So is London safe? Yes, but you have to be cautious. Don't go walking around dodgy areas. Keep your wits about you. And if you feel uneasy, just remove yourself from the situation. Otherwise, enjoy this city. Thank you for watching. I really hope that you got some tips that will help you have a much better time and a much safer time here in London. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe. Keep giving me those comments. I read every one of them, and I thank you for everything. Cheers.